Oh, look, a person of color is introduced to Star Wars and the underbelly of the fandom is outraged. They never come out and actually say that they're bothered by the fact that the main villain in Obi-Wan Kenobi on Disney Plus is played by Moses Ingram, a black woman. No, they hide behind phrases like, she's not a good actor, and the character is poorly written. When Christina Ariel came on the scene a little over a year ago, the Fandom Menace and the blatant racist trolls attacked her immediately. But the way they did it was not as direct as it came across. They were very careful to position their issue with Christina as Christina's problem. They dug up old comments from her condemning racism and an opposing political view and unleashed the hounds on her by twisting her words and saying she was anti-white, despite the fact that she's married to a white man. You see, a common practice among the hate mongers is to never directly say that they don't like someone because of their race, their sex, or their orientation. They shift from offense to defense, saying, why is this person coming after me? Her comments are reverse racism, and I feel attacked. It gets the base riled up without ever using words that can be used directly against them. Now, Christina rose above it and became a beacon of light for the Star Wars fandom, and it was a hard-fought victory that she should never have had to engage in, but it showed that those tactics have no place in this fandom. Before Christina, the Fandom Menace attacked Kelly Marie Tran with racial slurs, so much so that she left social media. Before that, in 2014, the trolls took to the web to blast John Boyega as the first black stormtrooper seen on screen. Toxic fans went so hard at Ahmed Best that it is well documented that he considered suicide. And Jake Lloyd, a 10-year-old Jake Lloyd, was bullied and blamed for destroying Star Wars as far back as 1999. What's happening to Moses Ingram is sadly not at all unexpected, so much so that Lucasfilm warned her that it would happen. And when she talked about it, the racists literally took offense. Moses Ingram shared with Variety ahead of the Kenobi series debut that the company told her, quote, this is a thing that unfortunately likely will happen. It was a preemptive strike against the trolls that lit them up. Now, say what you will about the Fandom Menace. Their ability to spin position statements is right up there with the best public relation teams in the world. They turn their 23-year history of attacking children and women and people of color in Star Wars and positioned Lucasfilm's proactive protection of their stars into mock offense. More cleverly, they started priming their acolytes with, well, this show must be so bad that they're telling us that if we don't like it, we're racist. Now, that's quite a leap for a logical mind, but to the Fandom Menace, this makes total sense. They began to clutch their pearls and became offended that they were being called bigots, but you'll note that only those with a history of hate responded that way. Those that pushed Kelly off social media, attacked Christina as a racist, and nearly killed Ahmed Best were the ones who posted videos going after Lucasfilm for preparing an actress for the oncoming storm, which in and of itself is the first admission of guilt. Nowhere did the YouTubers who lead the torch-carrying mob stop for a moment and say, listen, there's an ugly history here. Let's not contribute to it or prove Lucasfilm right. Instead, they used it as fuel to ignite the troll army. Then when the show dropped on Disney Plus, their talking points started to turn slightly. They began to name Ingram directly, saying she's a bad actress. They said the writing was poor and that the show created plot holes in existing stories. And this was 2 episodes into a 6-part show. It's premeditated. There's never even a chance to have a conversation. An attempt to understand what they didn't like is met with things like, what, I'm not even allowed to dislike it without being called toxic? Defensiveness is a key personality trait of the online troll. And let's face it, a lot of the people who didn't like it after it premiered were the same people who didn't like it before it premiered. And let me just say right here, I have a couple of issues with some shots, some of the dialogue choices, some story direction, but it's not coming from a toxic place. I'm happy to discuss the shortcomings, but unlike the trolls, mine are not thinly veiled commentary on the choice of actor to play parts. In fact, one YouTuber called hiring Moses Ingram, and I quote, Operation Get Behind the Darkies, based on a bad South Park the movie joke that has not aged particularly well. They called this Yale-trained, Emmy-nominated actor a diversity hire. And then the floodgates opened. Moses received literally hundreds of offensive and racially motivated and toxic, threatening messages, just as Lucasfilm predicted. The Fandom Menace did not miss their opportunity. But this time, to their credit, within hours, Lucasfilm stepped up and initially tweeted, quote, we are proud to welcome Moses Ingram into the Star Wars family and excited for Reva's story to unfold. If anyone intends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we have only one thing to say. We resist. There are more than 20 million sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be a racist. Suddenly, the people who hate Disney-era Star Wars took offense again. It made me ask the question, why does being asked not to be a racist make you so mad? A question that they clearly neglected to consider. Then, in the evening of the same day, Ewan McGregor created his own dashboard video defending Moses and telling people that if they bully her, they are not Star Wars fans in his mind. And of course, this got the YouTube algorithm jockeys excited, not because they were upset that things had gotten this far, but because it was an opportunity to make more money commenting on the comments created by the commenters that they created. It's a perfect circle. And on top of it all, the response was almost as ugly as the racial slurs fired at Ingram. They said, let's see all those comments, and things like, well, even if it's hundreds or thousands of messages, it's still a small percentage of the fans. What? Now, I hear what you're saying. Isn't it possible that they just don't like the character or the story? And absolutely, 100%, it sure is. But it's hard to convince me that that is the case if you started the propaganda campaign against a particular character before the show even came out. With sites posting videos like Kenobi will be a failure and basing that on how bad they believe Reva will be 2 weeks before the premiere, followed by video after video dwelling on Moses' character, her as an actress, or Lucasfilm's position on racism. It's clear that there's an agenda, and it has nothing to do with saving Star Wars from Disney, like they claim. But the bigots' code is like an itch. They cannot help it. There was an opportunity here that is clearly presented, and it is never taken advantage of. When Ewan McGregor was forced to have to make his own statement about bigotry and fandom, they called it an anti-marketing campaign. They called it an affront to fans by calling them racist. They claim that Disney is pushing an agenda, and not once did they speak out against the ugliness thrown at Moses Ingram. Not once did they urge their fan base to rise against the hate and take a stand. The chance to take the high ground not only existed, it was the easy thing to do. But instead, they played the victim and the yeah but card. Here's Geeks and Gamers from just the other day watching Ewan McGregor's video.
There's no place for racism in this world. And I totally stand with
very going out on a limb there, Ewan. Wow. Saying racism is bad. What an announcement.
You know what, though? You know what? For once, I am going to agree with Ewan McGregor, because I think it's very important that we call out bad behavior and toxicity. I think it's very important that we call out bad behavior from people like Ewan McGregor that cheated on his wife and running around, you know, with all these little hot numbers. So, hey, be better, Ewan. I agree with Ewan McGregor. Let's call out toxicity. It's always projection from these that want to pretend that they are the moral superiority. They all have something to hide no matter what. They always have something to hide. Go f yourself, Ewan McGregor.
And the hate profiteer hunts itself. It doesn't take a brilliant mind to realize that if someone calls out bad intent and you're more offended at the implication than outraged at the action, then you have outed yourself. But the best part is it's not a surprise. We know what you are. If you're among the weak-minded legions who follow and wait for talking points from your YouTube masters, we see you. What's sad is that you don't realize you're nothing but a handful of pennies for the clickbait crew who play on your insecurities to make themselves thousands of dollars per month in ad revenue and super chats. They make the money, and you stay angry, applying your own hate to a story that has clearly moved past you. The story of Star Wars is about good's triumph over evil. You're on the losing side of a tale that you claim to love. But the bad news is that this will not change as long as YouTube rewards clicks over content and bigots can commune with other bigots. There's too much money to be made by letting this sort of self-driving hate engine shut down. How do you combat it? Well, don't give it air. Don't retweet the ugliness or engage in the conversation. When you see it, scroll by it. When they comment with hate on what you love, block them. And as Lando Calrissian said in my 11th favorite live-action Star Wars movie,
but there are more of us, Poe. There are more of us.
And I'll drink to that.